Good morning. I'd like to call a meeting to order and acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Cholet 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Neil Harden. I'm chairing today's panel. With me via Zoom is Michelle Duncan, and in the room is Brent McIntyre. The assessor today is Arka Ader Kanoff. Sorry for that. And the administrative personnel today is Sally Caulfield. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rule in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which a revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the board. The board is appointed annually by council and is independent of it in the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application may be brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications be heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live stream recorded and will be part of the public record. We'll be hearing items 1 through 7 on our docket today. Ms. Caulfield, please affirm the assessors and applicants' testimony.
Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Arka Aidarkhanov.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I affirm.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Marcelo Navarro.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, the first property on today's agenda is 370 Daly Street North. So Arka, you can begin.
Board of Revision file number 222484. Applicant Altus Group Limited. Roll number 12097751100. Address 370 Daly Street North. Owner JMax Auto Services Limited. Roll year 2023. Reference date April 3rd, 2021. Assessed value $847,000. Classification 60. Liability is taxable. Parcel. This is a vehicle service related parcel and improvement. So we have, I guess, with a C2 zoning, land area 54,612 square feet, which if we do the math would be about $15.50 per square foot of land value. And the plan area for improvements are 5,335,000 square feet. Wall height 11 feet, and on page 2, the panel can see the aerial view of subject property. So subject property located just south of MPI building on Pembina, if you are aware of it. So it's It's a irregular shaped lot that backs into a railroad, and page 3 has a street view picture that shows like an improvement, having what appears to be a metal roof, number of garage doors for that's where it is vehicle service related, as well as a building which appears to be used as an office space for the vehicle service purposes. And again, like page 4 continues on showing the side and the back of the lot. So top of the page 4 picture shows vehicles parked. So the parcel is being used as a, or at the time this picture has been taken, has been used for the purposes of storing vehicles for the local dealerships. I believe it was a Chrysler dealership that stored their excess inventory on this particular parcel. And yeah, and the bottom picture just shows Dudley Avenue side of the building. All right, so yes, subject property sale history 2017. The sale price was $756,000. That's on page 5. Okay, and going to income valuation of the subject property, as stated, 5,335 square feet, broken down into 4,350 square feet at $13 per square foot, and 985 square feet at $9.34 per square foot. Total potential rent, $65,750,000. Then we apply a 2% vacancy loss, 3% expenses, and the $6 shortfall, which is a standard for VSGs, cap rate of 7.3%. And the capitalized value is calculated to be $847,000. Page 7 basically somewhat of a copy of page 6, what I just read. It provides a summary. Since we only have one income stream, it's basically a mirror image copy. So I'm not going to go over that. Page 8 shows comparables of the vehicle service garages that the city is using for 2023 2023 Board of Revision hearings, and those are VSGs from all over the city, obviously. Those are the, and those particular ones, they tend to be like the ones that are on the lower end spectrum of the comparable. So there is, so those 10 properties have average of $14.65 per square foot for the for a vehicle service garage, and the median about $12.22, $12.63, and weighted median of $12.22. Pages 9 through, I believe, let's see. Pages 9 through 15 kind of provide aerial pictures and street view pictures of the comparables that are presented here. In a sense, subject property may be very close comparable to comparable number 7. If you open page 15, you can see the pictures of comparable number 7 in a type of structure, lot size, and that one is at $13 per square foot. I mean, comparable number 8 is also a bit decent comparable, but it's in a bit different area of the town. It's 1870 King Edward Street, and that one is a larger building by far. It's 17,000, almost 18,000 square feet, 17,909 square feet. And that one is $10.15 per square foot. Okay. The rest of the presentation provides standard information on cap rate studies on page 19 and income and expense mailer that was received by the property owner. So, okay, so that's all I have for my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm open to it.
Okay, questions, Marcello?
I don't have any questions, Mr. Chair. I know this is going to sound very irregular, but we have been discussing something prior to the hearing, actually even yesterday on this property. So I'm wondering if we could, again, take a 2-minute and have me and the assessor discuss this just briefly.
Sure. Sure, if you will. All right, and now Marcello, it was your presentation.
Actually, probably it's going to be, if it's okay, I will, basically what happened is, as I was presenting, probably I'll let Marcelo state that and then I'll continue.
Okay, and yeah, I guess we're at questions on your presentation, so.
Yeah, no, yeah, but it's a bit, I guess, the situation is like Marcelo and I, we have discussed the value of these properties before, but as we have been, as I have been presenting the case, Marcelo actually, there was a tentative, I guess, recommended value in place, but property owner did not accept it at the time, but did accept it at while the presentation was going. So what my plan was is to honor my previous discussions with Marcelo about it and present an offer.
Okay.
On present, I guess, a recommended value. So if that is
okay, a verbal
possible.
recommendation. Yep, that is.
Okay. All right. So my verbal recommendation is to change the value to reduce the assessment to $790,000 based on $11.50 per square foot.
And all other parameters remaining the same?
Yes.
All right. And Marcello, I take it you're accepting this?
Sam.
Okay, let me. I gotta do a little bit of changes to my spreadsheet then. All right, come out to 790,000. So, any questions, Brent?
I have no questions, thank you.
Michelle, any questions?
So that's the city's verbal recommendation, not the applicant's, correct?
Yes, accepted by the applicants and city's verbal, yes.
Thanks, no questions.
All right, so then we will move to 340 Pembina. Right, let me just open the files first of all. Okay, so on 340 Pembina then, you can begin.
Give me 1 second. All right, so this particular property, there is a verbal recommendation as well. And the recommendation is to change the assessed value to 1 million. I guess I should open that first, right?
Yeah, yeah. Put in the
yeah, sorry, I probably should grab a sip of coffee too. All right, there we go. File number 2230, file number 223807. Okay, applicant Altos Group Limited, roll number 1202196500. Address 340 Pembina Highway. Owners are 6525823 Manitoba Limited. Roll year 2023. Assessed value $1,532,000. There's a recommendation to reduce the assessed value to $1,350,000 based on a using rate of $17.97.
1797.
Yep. All the other parameters being should be the same.
Everything else the same?
Actually, no, cap rate is different. It's not 705, it's 7.
7%. Why do I come up with 1,308,000? 17, you said 1797?
2% vacancy,
Yeah.
3% expenses, $6 shortfall, 7% cap rate. You don't get the same number?
Oh, do you get an NOI of 91,596?
I'm getting an NOI of 100. Oh, sorry, my fault. Yeah, applicant and I use the wrong square footage to begin with. So we have like for some reason, like, yeah, let me just recalculate real quick. So 1850, sorry. There should be 1853 per square foot.
Okay, and what's the final value you come up with?
1,350,000.
Okay, so what rent then did you say?
18 area 5,400 square feet and rent $18.53 per square foot.
1883. Okay. I still get 1,371,000.
Okay.
1,372,000 actually rounded.
So 5,400 square feet, $18.53 per square foot, arrives at a potential market rent of $100,062, right?
I get 96,011. Oh, potential market rent 101,682. Yes.
101,682 should have
Yep.
been 100,062.
What area
Hold on,
are
I
you?
think
What area are you using?
5,400.
5,400 times 1883.
53. 18,
53.
yeah.
So it comes to 100,062.
Yes.
And then for total value of 1,350,000.
Yes.
All right. Now we're on the right page. Okay, Marcella, how do you feel about that value?
Just so we can clear this up, what was the original offer, Arca?
This was it. That's what I have, right? 1,350,000.
Okay, then we're good with it.
Okay. Any questions, Brent?
I have no questions, thank you.
Michelle?
Not anymore. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, I was going to say what 1,650,000 was originally above the original assessment. Okay. So then let's move
Okay.
to 554 Pembina. Let me open the files again. All right. So on 554 Pembina, you can begin.
So file number 222503. Applicant Altus Group Limited, roll number 1209 7805550, address 554 Pembina Highway, owner JMax Auto Services Limited, roll year 2023, reference date April 1st, 2021, assessed value $4,712,000. Classification is 60 other, and liability is taxable. So parcel contains two buildings with actual year builds of 1929 and 2017, and effective ages of 1975 to 2017. It's a C2 zoning. Land area 35,354 square feet. Plan area 20,167 square feet. Gross floor area 25,390 square feet. Yes, next page, we can see pictures of the subject property. So those are aerial. Those are aerial pictures of the subject property. It's a bit small to that picture. Actually, it is a bit small, but you can see there's a small office building right abutting very close to Pembina Highway, and a larger VSG farther into the back of the parcel. Bottom picture that shows JMax. This says JMax is basically a vehicle service related building, and so page 3 also shows the pictures of the vehicle related building, and the bottom picture on page 3 shows a 2-story smaller office building that says Enterprise. So that is it's another building, predominantly office building with a small garage. So page 4 again shows street view of the building of the subject property. Hence top picture, 2-story office building that abuts Pembina. And the bottom of so middle picture that shows a 2-story office building with a vehicle service larger vehicle service building in the back. And the bottom picture shows like a parking lot in between the two buildings, and kind of like gives a visual of where things are in the subject property. Okay. So for income streams, we have two income streams. It's on page 6. Income stream 1 is OFS, which consists of two parcels, 3,031 square foot parcel at $14.25 per square foot, and 2,226 square foot parcels at $12.84 per square foot. So total potential rent $72,673,000. Applying office vacancy loss of 6%, expenses of 3%, and the shortfall of $8. Net operating income arrives at $63,707, with cap rate of 6.2%. Potential capitalized value is $1,028,000 for income stream 1. And income stream 2 is a vehicle with a larger building in the back. It's a vehicle service related building. So 20,063 square feet at $13.84 per square foot. With a vacancy loss of 2%, expenses at 3%, and shortfall rate of $6. We get a net operating income of $261,547. Capitalization rate of 7.1% provides a capitalized value of $3,684,000. Page 8 provides income stream summary. So we blend both income streams together to arrive at estimated market value of $4,712,000. As far as the conditions, I have reviewed like subject property. There were some pictures on file for subject property, and I did review it, and I would like to speak about it real quick. So the building in the back, the 20,000 square foot vehicle service garage, is an above average vehicle service garage with a nicer finishings, very nice customer service area, nice counters, lots of glass, very appealing building, as well as vehicle service base seem to have enough room and very I guess I would want to say they have enough room, and it's a large building, and would be considered a desirable service garage if somebody was looking for one. The other building is the office building. The two-story building is not as nice, but it's not in a bad condition as well. So it's basically an average condition building. It has office space. It's pretty much mostly office building, typical office buildings that would be in average condition. Okay, so going back to page 9. Okay, so the top of page 9 provides 8 comparables for OFS rents, and those comparables are in Earl Grey, Abbey Wharf, Norwood East, Rosemere, and Maybank areas. So some of them are a bit farther out, but the predominant bulk of them is within the subject property area. And what we have is we have a minimum rent, minimum age of 1960, maximum age of 2008, and minimum rent of $10, maximum rent of $27.72, with averages and median being around $16. So $16 for median and $16.72 for an average. So that would be fall in line with what the subject property of a stream is. So for property for the price per square foot. Now VSG rents again, we're using 15 comparables. So this is basically a full stack of VSG comparables that city provides for the 2023 hearings. And so 15 properties would include the ones that would be very much inferior to subject property, and the ones that I guess more in line with. The problem with that, and I'll tell you right now, is subject property is 20,000 square feet. We don't really have that large of comparables. The only one we have is a 17,909 square foot comparable, which is comparable number 12 at $10.15 per square foot, which is only comparable to subject property in size. It would not be a comparable to subject property in quality, in condition, or any other way, as well as location. Actually, subject property is located on Pembina Highway, which is a superior location. So it's a bit of a challenge to pinpoint which comparable to use, but I would say that the model rent for subject property at $13.84 is for subject property being above average condition would be well supported by averages and medians provided here. So we have average of $16.42, weighted average $14.53, and median of $15.50. Yeah, so page 10 provides an aerial view for and street view of comparables used for VSG stream. So comparable 1, page 11 would be comparable 2, and so on. And as you can see, if you flip through pages, most of the comparables here, if not all, could be considered inferior to subject property. And page 25 provides table of cap rates. 26 is some municipal assessment experts, and pages 27 forward income and expense report provided to us by the property owner, where it's basically says that it's partially owner occupied property. So that's all I have for my presentation, and if you have any questions.
Okay, questions, Mr. Navarro?
Yes, I do. Mr. Assessor, Arca, will be on a first name basis today.
That was good.
Have you inspected this property?
I did not inspect the property except for reviewing the pictures on file of previous inspections, and the latest inspection was a year ago on February 4th.
That's right. So the property is a combination of a service garage, an auto body shop, and an office building, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now that office building, the capitalization rate that you have on there is 6.20. I assume that all of this has been generated by your assessment model, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. And in terms of the office finish and the office comparables, you have a set of office comparables here, which I went through and just looked at. Now, these are all proper office buildings, correct?
There would be, yes.
Okay. And in terms of our subject, you are aware that it is being used as a rental center, an auto vehicle rental center, and that there is essentially no finish on the second level. It's used as a large lunchroom. and there is also a garage on the side. So how does the model account for those different, I guess, aspects of this property versus the property that you're presenting as comparables?
Oh, I guess if we turn to page 6, that's the best I can answer.
Okay.
So we have 3,031 square foot of main floor at $14.25, and we have 2,296 square feet of second floor at $12.84.
That's understood. Thank you. And in terms of the garage itself, if you look at your front page, that is page number 1, you can see the land to plan area is 1.75. That is rather low for any type of property, especially a property that deals with auto use, correct?
Theoretically, you would say yes if you had a small building and you had a small lot. But what we are dealing with here is we have a 35,000 square foot lot with a massive 20,000 square foot building. So I don't run the business. I cannot say whether it is good or bad, but if you have indoor capacity to store vehicles rather than outdoor, I think it's a bonus.
Okay, and you can see on page 4 of your property report, on, I believe it is Scotland Avenue, you see a picture there?
Yes.
You see all of the vehicles parked there on the street.
Okay.
Are you aware if those vehicles are actually part of the, I guess, parking for the garage?
Well, I don't think I can answer that question.
Okay.
So
I'll leave that at that. Thank you for your.
Yeah.
Okay, are those your questions, Marcello?
Those are. Thank you.
Okay, Brent, any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Okay, Michelle, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, then you can begin, Marcello.
Okay, so we have 554 Pembina Highway. I inspected this building with the assessor, I believe, sometime in early 2022. I'm not exactly sure of the date, but that would have been the last inspection for this property from both the assessor and myself. I've been in this property 3 times, but that was the last time. Actually, it was February 4th, 2021. On page 6, you can see the overhead pictures. So the problem with this property, in our opinion, has always been the issue of the land to building ratio and the lack of parking that it has. So yes, the assessor is correct that they can park some vehicles inside as long as they're not too busy. If they're not too busy, what ends up happening is that they are parked on the street. And there is additional parking in the front side, closer to the Pembina and facing the office building that is also part of this property. However, a large part of that parking actually goes to the tenant at the office building. They are an enterprise dealership, so they also have a requirement for parking. On page 7, you can see the lot breakdown. And on page 6, there's a picture, sorry, page 8, there is a picture of the dealership. Now there is a long property description here. You can have a look at that at your discretion. We also have some zoning information in terms of the parking requirements. So based on the actual zoning of this location, it actually doesn't meet the parking requirement that it has. But that's not an issue. In terms of the valuation, the office building, you have a rent of $12.56 blended. that is based on a set of comparables that you can see on page 36 and 37 of our report, and that is these are mainly OFS comparables that were taken from the city of Winnipeg, actually. Now, obviously, we have a slightly lower rent than the assessor, and again, we are adjusting it. Yes, we are adjusting it. Again, there are two specific reasons. This building has very low hanging ceilings, especially on the main level, which kind of gives it the appearance of having a smaller space. But there is also the lunchroom and the garage that's on the side, which is used to prep vehicles, which we assume can't be valued at a normal rate of office finish. So that is why we have a lower rent than the assessor. In terms of the vacancy, we have no issue with the vacancy. There is no vacancy here. So we use a market vacancy of 6%, shortfall of $8. That is the prescribed market shortfall according to the City of Winnipeg Assessment Department assessment guidelines for this cycle. Non-recoverable expenses, well, we haven't moved from this issue. We have submitted a report on non-recoverables, which I'm sure most of you have heard at this point. That is at 7%. And in terms of the capitalization rate, we applied a capitalization rate of 6.75 on the office property. So, just to summarize the office valuation, the office value that we have is $828,966. That would be rounded to $829,000. Now for the VSG, we are looking at auto use around the city as well, but also specifically at the Pembina area. So we have obviously adjusted this rent downward, not so much different than what this city has. We're at $13 per square foot. We've applied a vacancy of 2%, $6 shortfall, 7% non-recoverable, and 6.75 on the capitalization rate of the VSG. So the reason that we are bringing this down is, again, we are looking at both the retail and the industrial side. So auto use has that distinct feature of having both kind of industrial qualities and retail qualities. So there is no specific capitalization rates that we can draw from in terms of these auto service garages. Most often they are owner occupied. So there are few sales that we can draw from. So in terms of the retail cap rates, we are looking at the top end of the standard quality. We don't think that this would be on the top end of the retail quality. Those would be reserved for your larger community shopping centers or regional shopping centers. And in terms of the industrial cap rate, we would be between the B class at 650 to 750. We're at 675. So again, that is how we have rationalized the capitalization rate. On page 24, you can see our grand total and combined income streams. And again, we have an NOI there of 289,640 and a capitalization rate. Both streams have the same capitalization rate of 675. So we have an end value of 4,290,957 or 2,291,000. In terms of the appendix, we have the materials that were submitted by the owner in terms of COVID and income and expenses for 2020, rent comparables, and pictures that we took on our last inspection. And that is my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, questions, Erica?
So, yes, I actually would not ask any question at this time.
Okay, Brent, any questions?
I just have one related to the vehicle service garage portion of your workup. You used a rate of $13 a square foot, correct? And the median rent on the Pembina Highway comparisons alone are at $14.39 a square foot.
That is correct, but I don't believe any of them are close to the size of our properties. Except for the one at 560 Pembina, which is a much lower rent.
That's the large one.
Yeah.
Significantly larger than the subject property.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question.
Okay, Michelle, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, I have a question on the area for the VSG. City is using 20,063 and you're using 19,925. Now why the difference?
19,925, I believe, is the what we've always had on this property. Yeah, I can't explain that, but that is historically what we've always used. Granted, there's not much of a difference there, so I'm not gonna lose any sleep if you go with the assessor's square footage.
Yeah, okay. Arca, do you know why there's a difference here?
No, actually, I kind of forgot to to ask Marcelo about it myself. Yeah, it's kind of slipped my mind, but yeah, I don't exactly know why that is.
I believe, Mr. Chair, if it actually relates to a section of the office building or the office portion of the garage at the front.
Okay.
So, there is, I believe, about a 400 or 500 square foot. You know, I'm not exactly sure about the dimensions, but basically a section of the second floor is open to the first floor.
Yeah, I had read that.
Yeah, so that is why we adjusted the square footage. Now, the
Yeah,
city.
it says in your brief 2,118 square foot section that shot. Oh no, never mind. That's I did read that.
There is
Where
a
that-
297 square foot section of the second level that is fully open to the main level. That's
Yeah.
on the third paragraph there.
So, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, well, obviously it's something to like. It doesn't seem like a huge difference. Like I cannot say exactly whether that is the case or not, but I wouldn't like. I could to review basically, like you have to review the plans to see what actually what's involved there. Yeah.
I'll also note that for this building, because I got this building new, I got it with the actual blueprints that were submitted to the planning department. I actually measured this building out myself in terms of the square footage and the allocations for any spaces that shouldn't be there. For example, that 297 square foot portion. Now, obviously, I came very close to what the city was saying, but so we're off a little bit. I can say that I did this measurement myself using the blueprints. So that's what
were those internal or external dimensions that you used?
Those were external.
External, okay. Yeah. All right, so it goes down as a mystery. I mean, if it was just the open area, it should be like 297 square foot difference, not 100 and. Yeah.
I agree with that, but I don't think that we got to the same size total to begin with. So that's why there would be a slight difference in our calculation. So if you added 297 square feet to the 900 or the 19. Sorry, I'm just losing my train of thought here. If you added that to the 19,925, that would probably be what we came up with as a total. And
Yeah.
I do recall that I took off that 297 square foot portion, and that is why I landed at 19,925.
All right. Thank you for that. And I have, I guess, no more questions. All right. Let's do 715 Pembina. Then we'll have a break after that. So let me open the files. Item 4. On 715 Pembina, Arca, you can begin.
One. For file number 22-1374, applicant Altus Group Limited, roll number 120-125-83100, address 715 Pembina Highway, owners Haber Motors Incorporated, roll year 2023, reference date April 1st, 2021, assessed value $1,039,000, class code 16, and liability is taxable. It's a vehicle service related use. Actual year built, so 2 buildings, actual year built 1970-1998, and with, I guess, effective age of 1985 overall. Wall heights 12-14, zoning C2, land area 32,993 square feet. Land area 5,375 square feet. Okay, so page 2, aerial view of subject properties. This top picture is very small, but kind of gives you an idea where it is. So it's just north of Taylor Avenue on Pembina Highway on the west side. And the bottom picture provides a better close-up aerial view of subject property. So you can see 2 buildings, one on the left appears to be an older building, on the right to be a newer building, which is a taller building, higher wall height. So page 3 again shows street view of subject property. That page shows a view from Pembina Highway. The bottom 2 pictures shows a view from the back alley. You can see the chain link fence, parked vehicles, vehicle service bays on the bottom picture, and I guess the middle picture kind of like shows again the front of the building, which is office section for the vehicle service building. Okay. So for income stream on page 5, we have one income stream for subject property, and so for premise, which is broken down into 2 premises. So first one is 3,100 square feet at $14.13 per square foot. And the other one is 2,275 square feet at $14.43 per square foot. potential market income $76,331. With a vacancy loss of 2%, your EGI is $75,098. Expenses at 3%, shortfall rate of $6, NOI $72,200. Cap rate 6.95%, provides a estimated market value of $1,039,000. So page 7, rent comparables. Again, we're using same 15 vehicle service related comparables as have been presented before. We have average of $16.42, weighted average of $14.53 per square foot, and median of $15.50 per square foot. Now, let's keep in mind the 15 comparables presented here have all spectrum of vehicle service related garages. Some would be inferior, others would be superior. For example, and when we look at the subject property, which is falls right in line with what is expected for a VSG at about 5,675 square foot of subject property. So a lot of VSGs fall in that range, which appears to be like desired size. So, for example, we can say comparable number 7 at $5,452 square feet is $20.50 per square foot. That would be, I believe that is a fountain tire comparable, and those are typically on a higher rate degree. So subject property would be slightly inferior to those typically. But when I look at street view of subject property appears to be, again, I would say it's has a superior location, being right on Pembina, and it appears to be in offer better building type because it has separate bays. So if you go back to page 3, you can see five garage bays. So you have 5 separate garage doors, which is more desirable for vehicle service buildings versus when you have one garage door and you have to move vehicles back and forth to to provide service on them. So having a separate bay for each vehicle is a more desirable feature for vehicle service garages. And so going back to comparables, for example, comparable number 2, 1064 McPhillips is a 4,298 square foot vehicle service garage and $15.50 per square foot. That's a good year. And fountain tire location as well. It's a smaller location, and on page 9 you can see the pictures. So again, 3 garage bays provides the opportunity to work on multiple vehicles at the same time. Whereas, for example, comparable number 1 at $7.50 per square foot, you can see only 2 garage bays going deep. So you have, I believe that building also has a side garage bay as well, which is not shown on the picture for comparable 1, but you can see the inconveniences where if you have a vehicle, if you need to move a vehicle and some vehicle is still under repair, you kind of forced to either pull it out, push it out, or whatever else, or wait until it's being repaired. So that's having a separate base is a superior feature. Again, panel members can go through the comparables. Again, like Chevrier, comparable number 5 provides only 1 garage bay, which is again somewhat maybe an inferior feature in this. And yeah, fountain tire comparable 7 as we discussed. You can see it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 bays, so that's a superior building to subject property. And comparable 8, 1315 Henderson Highway. Again, it's not a national chain. It's located on a busy highway similar to subject property. It's a smaller building, 2,160 square feet. However, what makes it yes, appealing is that it has separate garage bays and $18.53 per square foot. So with that, I'll just let the panel browse through other comparables if they choose to. Let's move on, page 22. Table of cap rates, and the conclusion of the report is income and expense mailer submitted by the property owner. And so I'm just looking at it. It does say rent, but I believe this property is may not be a true net for one reason or another, but probably something to ask applicant about it. That's about it. I'm open to your questions.
Okay, questions, Marcello?
Yes. You're aware that this is a used car dealership?
Okay, I guess okay, now I am. I wasn't.
So there is some parking requirement for any used car dealership, correct? And that is probably reflected in the land to plan area of 6.14. You'd agree with that?
I guess I don't know exactly the requirements for the like what is required for the land to plan area. I believe there's certain stalls that you have to have, and
Right.
For a used vehicle service garage, it doesn't specify the land to plan area requirement. I would assume subject property does meet those requirements.
Okay. And in terms of your capitalization rate that you've used, that is model generated.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, looking at your chart, can you tell me where this cap rate falls?
My chart, right? Page 22. So that's so my chart is on page 22, and it does fall 6.95 cap rate falls on the outer scale of what model considers office suburban B 6.9%.
Okay.
So it is on the below 80th percentile.
Right, right. So the model, and I believe you've spoken to this in the past, that they are taking from the office side, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, like and I believe you're referring to industrial, right? And when we look at industrial B, for example, and we can look at the cities, or we can look at Colliers, CBRE, and Koshman. So I believe subject property cap would be comparable. Say Colliers 6.75, CBRE 6.25. Those are high cap rates. Lower would be 6 and 6.5.
Okay. Now, in terms of your net operating income, I'll ask you to turn to your page 24. Now, we have, I believe, what is net rent in place. It was negotiated in 2019. And the net operating income here is 41,803, and your net operating income is 72,200. Can you give an explanation? Is the model's fault?
Give me 1 second. Okay, I did not have a chance to review the income and expense value of such a property. I cannot speak exactly as to, actually, give me 1 second. Your question was like, as far as a model.
Yeah, why is the model so much lower than the leasehold interest?
Yeah, no,
Okay, so much higher.
I understand the question, and to be honest with you, I did not I didn't have time to investigate I guess whether the subject property rent is indeed whether it's a book rent or indeed a net rent. So that is a question to be asked, and whether it's a true net rent in place.
Okay, and on page 27, you can see the actual rent negotiated in 2019. It ends after the reference date, $5,000 per month for $53.75. That works out to $11.16 per square foot. Do you have any comment on that?
Again, as I said, like we have to review the income and expense measure that was sent. For the reason being, a lot of times property owners check off the net rent, whether it's a true net rent, whether it's a book rate rent, whether those are affiliated companies, and you probably as an agent may be able to shine more light on it. Are those as rents between affiliated companies?
Okay, are you just throwing that out there, or do you have evidence to suggest that?
I'm asking you. I don't have any evidence to suggest that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Michelle, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Brent?
I have no questions, thank you.
All right, and I have no questions, so you can begin, Marcello.
Okay, so this is 715 Pembina Highway. This is Haber Motors. This property is owned by Mr. Ben Haber, and he leases it to Delon Motors. I believe that is not the company name that they use registered, but that is who they lease it out to. They call themselves, I believe, Canada something. Yeah, Canada West Auto. It is the same company. However, there is no association there between Haber and the tenant. So that is an arm's length lease. I've looked at this property now for 3 cycles. I know Mr. Haber, and this is a negotiated lease. It is arm's length. Now, in terms of the property, I believe we've already discussed some of the issues here. This is a used car dealership. It has certain parking requirements because of the type of use. We've put a rent of $12, so the contract rent is actually $11.16. That is a net rent. However, we adjusted it upward because it was. It comes to a lease end date closely after the reference date, so we bumped it up a bit to $12. In terms of vacancy, 2%, shortfall $6. Capitalization rate, well, I've been in this property, so I would say that it is rather on the low side of the retail ladder. So we're looking at about 7.5 for the retail low quality, and in terms of industrial, that is again that's the high or the top end of the industrial B class. So you can see the summary on page 17. $12 rent, 2% vacancy, $6 shortfall. we get a net operating income of 58,140, capitalization rate of 7.50, and an income value of 775,204. In terms of the appendix, we just included the additional income expenses that the assessor has also included. So I'm open for questions.
The questions, Erica.
I think I do not have any questions to the appellant at this time.
Okay, Michelle, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Brent, any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
And I have no questions, so that concludes this property, and let's take a 10-minute break till 10:25 and then come back. Okay, our next property is 747 Pembina Highway. The Arca, you can begin on this property.
So, Board of Revision file number 22-2468. Applicant Autos Group Limited, roll number 1209751190. Address 747 Pembina Highway, owners Red River Cooperative Limited. Roll year 2023, reference date April 1st, 2021. Assessed value $2,112,000. Classification code is 60 and liability is taxable. It's again, the subject property is a gas station, so it's the park uses CMVSR, vehicle service related. It's a co-op gas station on the corner of Taylor and Pembina, just on the southwest corner. Okay, so we have one building. It's built in 2004 with a wall height of 10 feet. It's zoning for the parcel is C2. Land area 24,199 square feet. And the plan area 1,760 square feet. So page 2, aerial view of such property. So you can see it's in that little triangle between Taylor, Stafford, and Pembina. It's southwest corner of the Taylor and Pembina intersection. Okay. Page 3, street view of the subject property. You can see a canopy, gas station pumps, and the convenience store tucked in the at the back of the property. So what subject sale history? December 14, 2012. Subject property was sold for $2,447,973. So that's December 2012 sale. So moving forward, page 5. We have a SKP income stream, and this property has only one income stream, which is convenience store. So leasable area 1,760 square feet at a rate of $46.46 per square foot. Gives us a potential rate of $81,770,000. Application of vacancy, 2% vacancy, gets us an EGI of $80,135. 3% expenses and $6 shortfall. Gets us NOI of $77,520. Capitalization rate of 5.15%. Gives us a capitalized value of $1,505,243. To which we are adding additional cost of additional building value, which is typically your canopy, gas pumps, and storage tanks. To that, and then we add capitalized value with an additional building value. We arrive at $2,112,000 in assessed value. Page 6 basically gives us a breakdown of what buildings were added to additional building value of $607,000. So everything that was highlighted yellow is added, and it's also spelled out in red added to income stream. So we have fuel pumps, we have tanks, we have again some more tanks and fuel pumps and now that I look at it, okay, yeah, so the top one is a canopy. So we have pumps, tanks, and canopy. So this is standard features that are added to the building value. So page 7, income value, basically summarizes what I have said already, and the estimated market value is $2,112,000. Page 8 provides comparables used by the city for to defend gas station properties in the city. So this particular comparable provides comparables for some VCW. So what is not applicable here is comparable number 3, comparable number 10, because they are car washes. What is not 100% applicable is comparable number 9, because it's a mix of convenience store and car wash. The rest of the comparables are applicable, and what we arrive is, I guess, for the comparables is they range, and it's like those what we arrive at actually, like, yeah, so the median and mean and median here would probably be recalculated. My apologies for missing that on this presentation, because if we are to remove car washes and VCW car washes comparables, that would affect the mean and median. But in reality, they would affect the mean and median upwards. So the mean and median would be higher than presented median here of $56.28, and the median of $32.32. So because if you can see comparables number 3, 10 are 9 and $14 per square foot, as well as comparable 9 is 31. So they would skew it down, skew the mean and median down. So just for the board to consider. Okay. So then we look at subject property pictures. So the comparable pictures of the comparable properties for the next 2 pages. And on page 23, we arrive at a table of capitalization rates and income and expense measures provided by the property owner. That's all I have, and I'll come to questions.
Okay, Marcello, questions?
Yes, I do. I will flip to your comparables on page 8. Okay. And our subject is $1,760 square feet. So you have a set of comparables here, and there are quite a few here that are not really comparable to the subject, and those would be the smaller SKPs, correct?
Yes, subject property. Like when you say smaller SKPs, we're talking about really small ones, right? So,
Yes.
so what would be considered a kiosk more than a convenience
It's
store?
more of a kiosk, the 112 square feet, 364. You have a few in here that are larger convenience stores with car washes. And those are 3172. That is your comparable 9. You also, I believe, actually, I believe that might be the only one. Now,
That would be the only one, yes.
yeah, okay. Now, in terms of this property, was this something that the model just allocated in terms of the rent?
So you mean that
Model, the rent is modeled, right?
yes, the rent of $46.46 on page 5 is a model allocated rent.
Okay. Okay, so you really don't have any properties here that support that rent other than the one property on Henderson Highway. Would you agree with that?
Okay, let me just look at it. So we have comparable number 2 on Henderson Highway at $51.22 per square foot. And then when we look at other comparables, and your trend of again, we've discussed it before, right? So the way to look at it, like then we have comparable number 14, for example, which is a smaller one at $59 per square foot. Then we have to look at, I think the most important thing here to look at is square footage of the subject properties, so which is good, and rent per area. And for the most part, the rent per area would fall lower than what subject property is offering. So for example, if I look at comparable number 6, it's 2,800 square foot at $30 per square foot. The 7-Eleven built in 1981. Then we look at anything else. And what I'm getting at is when we look at the rents per square foot on those convenience stores, and when we look at the actual year built, they're all older. So subject property is 2004. So it is a newer building. And in all fairness, when we look at the comparables, this should be considered.
Okay, and your comparable number 2, which is the one on Henderson Highway, is that part of a community shopping center?
I believe that would be, let me just quickly pull it up. Well, it is it is within the area where there is a small shopping center behind it, right?
Yeah.
But it's not part of it. It's I guess it's it has its own parcel, so it's not part of it. But it is within the same hub of a shopping center. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Brent, any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Michelle?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, and I have no questions that Marcello hasn't asked. So you can begin with your presentation.
Okay, so this is 747 Pembina Highway on the corner of Pembina and Taylor. It is a convenience store / gas station. And I'll just go over the valuation method. So we use an income approach for the convenience store. If there is a car wash, we also apply the income approach. And I believe the assessor had also noted that there are certain cost elements involved in gas stations that include the pumps, the canopies, and the tanks, which cannot be valued on an income approach. So we apply a cost approach to that. Now, typically, I'm fine with the cost approach that the city has applied to it at this point. There are, however, some cases at the municipal board, which I probably think will address the issue of the cost elements as well. However, moving on with this valuation, on page 12, you can see our comparisons. Now, we have discussed this issue with the assessor already. So there is sorry, I'm just opening up something that I need for this. There are two corrections on the rents here, and that goes for comparables 5 and 6. So that would be Sage Creek Boulevard and Sterling Line Parkway. So for Sage Creek Boulevard, built in 2015, the leasable area is actually 3644, and that includes both the C-store and car wash. That is a newer property, and the rent actually is $28.24. So we actually had to verify whether that was leasable, the rent for both, and it does include both the car wash and the convenience store. So the combination of the C-store and car wash brings in a rent of $28.24. Now for Sterling Lion, built in 2014, that one is actually 3625 square feet. And the rent works out to $31.72. So that actually throws off our averages. But what we would like to say is that they're collecting a rent of $28.24 per square foot for a property that is fairly new in a good area that includes both the C-store and the car wash. And again, that is $28.24. And the other one, again, is fairly new, 3625 square feet, includes the C-store and car wash, and they are collecting a rent of $31.72 per square foot on that. So we've adjusted our rent upward to $36 because we recognize that, you know, as the property gets smaller in terms of the size, the price per square foot will increase. So that is why we've adjusted the rent upward to $36. However, we don't think it's as high as what the assessor is suggesting. We have a vacancy of 2%, shortfall is $6, and 7% on the non-recoverables. In terms of the income approach, the capitalization rate we've chosen is 6.75, and that is at the top end of the retail standard quality. So the income valuation for the C-store is $852,372. We've made an adjustment of $607,000, bringing our total to $1,459,372. And so that is rounded to $1,459,000. In the appendix, all you will find is just the submitted income and expenses from the owner. Actually, it's just the expenses, since this is an owner-occupied scenario. So I am open for questions.
Okay, questions?
Okay. Yeah, so again, going back to our comparables, actually your comparables on page 12, Marcelo.
Yeah.
So actually, like, yeah, those gas stations, especially when they are SKP or have a mix of car washes and convenience stores, they are a bit difficult to assess, obviously. So my understanding is you broke down comparable 5 and comparable 6, which were newer gas stations, slightly larger, 2,000 to about 2,200 square feet. Actually, they're both equal size, right? So 2,250 square feet gas stations, convenience store kiosks actually, and their rents were about 43 and 40, roughly $43 a square foot and $40 a square foot, and but they have car washes, right? So that's why you have to do some recalculations. Is that correct?
Okay, so if you look at the net lease, it's not breaking apart that rate. So the leases for these properties doesn't break that amount up. They are charging 28.24 for the full 36.44 on Sage Creek. And for Sterling Line, again, they're not breaking that rent apart. They are charging 31.72 for the convenience car wash. So I would say that if you're paying that for convenience store and car wash, you could probably rationalize some type of increase on the C-store based on the size differential, because you have a smaller space, so then technically you should have a higher rent. But I question as to whether it should be as high as what the model has predicted.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah. So, and again, looking at other comparables, so do you believe that, I guess, for example, we have comparable number 3 on McPhillips. So what makes it similar to subject property? I guess it's the effective age, 2004. It's a larger
And
building.
that one also includes a car wash. So the 4,580 square feet includes a car wash in there.
Okay, so it is a blended rate of $21.83, right?
Okay, when you say blended,
it blends convenience store and the car wash into it, right?
So yes, so that is the rent that they are being charged for that space.
So it is not a true convenience store rate of $21.83, right?
It's not what?
It's not a true convenience store rent.
No, because it's a car wash.
Yeah, so it's not okay. So are there any comparables that you have that are true convenience stores then?
So the first one, Lakewood, that is actually 2310. That is actually the convenience store and car wash combined. So that is actually 2310 for both the car wash and the convenience store.
Okay. So those are not the best rents to consider, right? I guess in the evaluation. That's why you used like higher rate of $36, right?
I used a much higher rate of $36, and again, I would point out yours is at $46. So yes, I believe we have a disagreement on rent.
So yeah, I guess I will let the board I guess look into it and see what's going on. I think I have all I asked my questions. Thank you.
Okay, Brent, any questions?
Just one on your lease comparisons. Are the first two the same property?
Yes, I actually just said that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I was looking at it while you were talking. I apologize. Why does it appear twice?
I'm not sure, because I actually I have a more updated lease spreadsheet which I've shared with ARCA going forward, which has the corrections based on the leases. I don't know why it was split up. That's how it came out. However, when I actually looked at the lease itself, read it, it doesn't break it apart.
It says 1 square footage.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
All right, Michelle, any questions?
Yeah, can you just confirm on the comparable 5 and 6 what the net rent was again based on the sheet you have?
Sure. So the rent on number 5 is $28.24 per square foot.
Okay.
And the
And-
rent, the next one, number 6, is $31.72 per square foot.
And those are both convenience store car washes as well, or just convenience stores?
They are convenience store car washes.
And then where would the numbers of 4356 and 4025 initially been plopped in there from?
I believe, I'm not actually sure. So we get a data dump. We dump the data from a master spreadsheet. And sometimes when they transfer over, there's mistakes on it. I didn't probably have time to go in there and correct it. However, I did correct it for future submissions on gas stations. And in fact, I've got basically one master spreadsheet of gas station leases, car washes, and car wash and convenience store leases that I've shared with the assessor going forward. But I don't know the reasoning as to why the mistake was made. It's probably a transfer of data mistake.
Okay. And typically, do you think a car wash, so a convenience store with a car wash, the car wash would enhance revenues significantly, or would the convenience store revenues be just in general, convenience store revenues be higher than a car wash? I mean, I know they're together, but which would be the higher producing income?
When you're talking about revenues, are you talking about the sales like of merchandise and things in these?
Yeah, I mean, I know they're combined, so it's somewhat of a subjective question, but would the car wash be getting them more money, or would the convenience store be getting them more money? In your opinion?
Like the convenience store would be getting them more money. However, that's more on the side of the business value of the property, which we wouldn't look at in this instance. We're looking at what the real estate would achieve rather than the profitability.
Yeah, I'm just thinking appealability for a buyer. So yeah, no, that's fair. Thank you.
All right. Your cap rate is 6.75, which you said was the high end of the retail. Why high end of the retail?
So it's not. If you look at the page 14. So we have 3 quality standards, the top, the standard, and the low quality, okay? And there's a low and a high end to both. And there is a low and a high end to both if we don't include the non-recoverable also. So in this case, I've included the non-recoverable. So I'm looking at the left-hand side, or the yellow side of it, and we're classifying this as just standard quality retail, but the low end. Do you get? So I think this is just semantics. It's the better side of the standard quality, essentially. The low side of the standard quality would be at 7.25.
Okay. And I guess I'll ask the same question now of ARCA. Your cap rate of 5.15 seems to be much below the 20th percentile of the retail. Why is it so low?
Oh, good question. I can assume it relates to, I guess, to the overall age that is applied to in this particular case. So we are looking at a relatively newer gas station. It's 2004 year built. So that's probably is the main derivative of it.
Mr. Chair, may I direct another question to the assessor?
Well, wait till he finishes this question, then you can ask him another
Yeah.
question.
Oh, that's basic. I think yeah, that's I would my only, I guess, what I would suspect at this time why it is what it is it's 5.15 is that the subject property is not as it's relatively newer at 2004 year, but
Okay, but
yeah,
the pumps, tanks, canopy probably have a
yeah,
short life then, do they not?
yeah. Unless it has been, I guess it's like I can only assume that they have been at some point in time they have been I guess replaced. But
Okay,
again, this is just a guess at this time, like without looking further into the reasons, looking at the permits, the timing of the permits when they were taken out, I will not be able to give you an exact answer.
okay. Now Marcello, you said you had another follow-up question?
Actually, you asked the question that I was going to ask about the pumps, canopies and tanks, so. yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So either party wish a summation on this one?
Yeah, I just I would like to quickly provide a summation. Like we've discussed the assessed value for the subject property, and we've looked at rents, we've looked at cap rates, expenses. I just want panel members to note the following. Page 4 of my report shows that subject property was sold for $2,447,973 in 2012. That is the actual sale price of subject property. Page 5 of my report shows that estimated market value of subject property based on income is $2,112,000, which is less than what they paid for the property in 2012.
Okay, Arca, if I can ask you a question about that right now, would that sale price also include the business value of the?
I do not have the answer to that question. I'm just looking at the values right now. So, let's see. Give me 1 second. I might actually give you an answer. Okay, I withdraw my, I guess, comment about it. Apparently, it was an internal sale. So, whatever it is, that's whatever it is. So, so yeah, so that's my summation. Is that
Okay. Marcello, do you wish a summation?
No, Mr. Chair, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. We'll go to 343 Sherbrooke, and I understand there's a non-co-op requested on this one. So,
Yes.
Arca, can you read in the information on the property and then proceed with the non-co-op?
Yeah. So basically, before I proceed, and I just want to say that both Marcello and I have come to an agreement on the recommended value of this property with the applicant accepting the non-co-op penalties.
Okay, is that have you accepted the non-co-op there, Marcello?
That's correct. Yes.
All right, so then give us the recommendation then, Arca, on the value.
I guess I'll open it up, right?
Yes.
So file number 22871, applicant Altos Group Limited, roll number 13050036200, address 343 Sherbrooke Street, owner Pam John Investment Limited. Year 2023, assessed value $817,000. There is a recommendation to change the assessed value to $725,000.
Okay. Based on,
Okay, just give me 1 second. So, based on I guess, make sure that everything is accurate here. So, based on $10.51 rate of per square foot. Everything else is the same as on page 4.
all right.
And non-co-op is also to be applied.
Yes.
For this particular.
Okay, and Marcello, you accept the 725,000?
Yes, I do.
All right. Any questions from the panel on this one then?
No questions.
I have no questions. Thank you.
All right, we'll come to our last property then, 111 Fort. Let me just open up the files then.
There is a record as well on this one.
Okay, so read in the preliminary information first and then give us your recommendation.
So file number 22-1820. Applicant Altus Group Limited. Roll number 12097804365. Address 111 Fort Street. Owner Label Tire Holdings Limited. Roll year 2023. Assessed value $3,937,000. The recommendation is to change the assessed value to $3,463,000. And that is based upon ready to change here. So for the income stream 1 on page 5, we are basically blending the rate. So for 10,216 square feet, we're using $14 per square foot rate. I believe so that is all the other parameters for income stream 1 remain the same. Then income stream 2 for the total leasable area of 13,929 square feet, we're using $11 per square foot. With all the other parameters remaining the same, we arrive at combined value of $3,463,000.
Okay. And Marcello, how do you feel about that number?
Actually, Mr. Chair, I actually have to ask for this to be confirmed. Yeah, so we won't take the reduction.
You won't take the reduction, but you add confirmation requested?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a different approach I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, are there any, so.
Yes, I withdraw my recommendation. I accept their confirmation.
All right. All right. Any questions from the panel then on this one?
No questions. Thank you.
I have no questions. Thank you.
All right. Live and learn, eh? All right, so that we have heard all the items scheduled today, and this hearing is now adjourned. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for your presentations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks.